أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا بالقاسم محمد وعلى عترة الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We are on the 7th of our 8 talks on bringing it home Hajj, and we are doing this in honor of Imam Muhammad al-Taqi alayhi salam, whose Shahadat day we will be commemorating tomorrow, inshallah. And the reason why we are looking at Hajj specifically to do with Imam Muhammad al-Taqi alayhi salam is because of his debate with Yahya ibn Ahkam, the chief judge of the time, where Yahya asked him about what was the kafara of someone in Ihram who went hunting. The other reason why we're specifically looking at Hajj is because Dhul Hijjah is just around the corner, and we want none of us are able to go to Hajj this year because of COVID-19. So I thought it would be a good idea to bring it home. And inshallah, next year when we get to go, we will have in our minds ways in which we can actually experience the Hajj there and then bring it home so that it truly becomes a lifelong experience, inshallah. So let us look at the rites of the day of Eid. As I said, there are 13 rites of Hajj Tamattu. We looked at the first two yesterday when we looked at those rites which were to do with just before the day of Eid. Today we will be looking at 3, 4, 5, and 6, which are to do with the things that have to be done on the day of Eid. And we will look at these in a little bit more detail. And obviously all of these are we need to make sure that we do the niyyah. And as I said, when we're looking at the niyyah, we're looking at how we can do every action back home with the pure niyyah of doing it only for the pleasure of Allah and in the way He tells us to do it. So looking at specifically the day of Eid and how to bring it home. The first rite of the day of Eid is just before the day of Eid, on the night, is to stay in the land of Muzdalifah. And here we're told to stay a part of the night, so anytime between Maghrib and Fajr, and from Fajr to sunrise. And here we, the only thing that is the requirement is that we pick up 70 pebbles in order to do the Rami of Jamarat. And it is 70 because on the first day we will do 7. We will throw at the biggest Jamarat, and then 21, 7 on each, the biggest, the middle, and the smallest, and again 21 the next day, and if we happen to stay one more night, then 21 the day after. So we have 70 pebbles that we pick up. How do we bring this rites of Muzdalifah back home? So first of all, we need to look at the fact that this is all done in the night, in the darkness, because it's done from Maghrib till Fajr and then from Fajr till sunrise. So it's all done in the darkness. Now, Arafat was done during the day, from Dhuhr to Maghrib. And here we're looking, in Arafat, we were looking at getting Ma'rifah for Allah, of the 12th Imam. And here we were looking, we needed light, we needed our intellect, we needed to actually think about it. So we needed to be able to see things clearly. Now, once we have this Ma'rifah, once we have this belief of Allah, then it's about increasing our faith. And faith is within the heart, which is based on belief. And belief is based on intellect. So it's not just, blind belief or blind faith. It is actually belief based on intellect, which was gained in Arafah. And now to bring faith, which is belief in action. Okay, so here I'm building my faith. And once I've built my faith, then I'm ready to go to Mina to actually carry out the bodily actions, the physical actions that need to be carried out. So Muzdalifah is all about sort of increasing my faith. And when I'm picking up these pebbles, I'm bringing to mind the story of Abraha and the birds, and thinking specifically here about the birds. Now, the birds were very, very small. And again, there are maybe times in my life where I feel very small, very insignificant, and the problems that I have may seem so big. But I know that if I connect to Allah, then I have the strength and the power to overcome anything. And also the other lesson that we can learn from the birds is that they didn't just pick up one stone. They picked up 3. It may have been easy for them to pick up maybe one or two in their claws, but to actually pick up another one in their beak. So they were trying to pick up as many as they could. They pushed themselves to the limit. They pushed themselves out of their comfort zone. Again, for me to actually achieve anything, I need to come out of my comfort zone. I need to do the maximum that I can so that I'm able to then be successful. So it's not just about connecting to Allah, but actually also doing the maximum that I'm able to do. I need to push myself really, really far outside of my comfort zone as much as possible. Also, Muzdalifah reminds me of a night of ibadah, and that brings back into my memory the night that Imam Hussein alayhi salam asked for before the day of Ashura. He wanted a night so that him and his companions could actually connect truly to Allah, so that on the day of Ashura there was no doubts, there was no sort of stepping away from what needed to be done. So if I can truly connect to Allah in this night, then going forward, I will not have any doubts. I will not have any sort of wavering. I will not step away from what is required for me to do. I need to spend this night in ibadah, in connecting to Allah, in order to increase the faith within my heart. Then I move on to Mina. And here on the first day, I'm asked to do Rami of Jamaratul Aqaba, the Jamaratul Aqaba, the biggest Jamarat. How do I bring this home? Because I'm only supposed to stone the biggest Jamarat. First of all, I need to recognize that Mina is a very, very busy place, especially near the pillars, near the Jamarat. So here, when I'm moving towards Shaitan, I need to realize that there will be pushback. And it will not only be from Shaitan, but from others who are his helpers, from others who may be helping him without even realizing that they're helping him. So it's not just Shaitan that I'm fighting, but it's others as well. And here I may be looking at things like peer pressure. I need to think about what is it that's stopping me from doing what is required of me. What is it that's, what is it that's stopping me? And it may be others who may be doing it purposely or subconsciously. I need to also here think about the how the birds were able to overcome the army of the elephant. And it was through their connection to Allah, through recognizing that if I keep that connection with Allah, then I'm going to be powerful. Nothing will stop me, and I will be able to move past this hurdle that I have in my life. And in order to do that, I need to also recognize this concept of Tawheed, that it is only Him that I rely on and no others. And if I turn to anyone else, it's because of my reliance on Him. I know that this other person or these other things that have been sent to me in my life are from Him. And I'm today only concentrating on the biggest shaitan that I have in my life. What is my biggest shaitan? If I can bring down the captain, if I can bring down the biggest thing that is taking me away from Allah, then I know that I have it in me to break all other things that are stopping my connection with Allah. I need to start as I mean to go on. Let me rely on Allah and actually break down the biggest thing that is my block towards Allah. Looking at the qurbani, which is the sacrifice of the animal, how do I bring this home? I need to think about here what or who is my Ismail. Who do I love more than Allah? In fact, who do I love for themselves? All my loves should be an extension of my love of Allah. As I said, in my heart there must be unity. My heart cannot have more than two loves. My heart cannot have the love of Allah if it is full of sins. So I need to purify my heart. I need to make sure that only the love of Allah is in my heart. And all my other loves are an extension of that love of Allah. I love my parents because Allah has told me to. I love my husband, my spouse, because Allah has told me to. I love my children because Allah has told me to. I love my family because Allah has told me to. I love my friends because Allah has told me to. I love my community because Allah has told me to. I love the Muslims because Allah has told me to. I love mankind, the souls that Allah has created, because Allah has told me to. If all my loves are an extension of the love of Allah, then I know that nothing will pull me away from Allah. But if I have a love which is just directly that love, or if I have a love which is probably above the love of Allah, or as a separate to the love of Allah, then I need to sacrifice that love. I need to make sure that I bring it into the fold of the love of Allah. I do not want to have a love which is separate from the love of Allah. How can I do this? Let me think about this. Finally, the halaq or the taqsir. And we talked about the fact that there was taqsir at the end of Umrah Tamattu. And again now on the day of Eid, once I have done these rites of the day of Eid, the final rite is the halaq, which is for the men, the shaving of the head, and for the women, taqsir, where they will cut a part of their hair. How do I bring this home? I need to move from the spiritual to the physical. All this time I've been thinking about my soul, about my connection to Allah, about me actually strengthening my soul. Now that my soul is strong, I need to now come back to my physical body. I need to remind myself that I live in the physical world, and therefore I need to be able to come back to it with a soul that is so strong that the soul now dictates to the body rather than the body dictating to the soul. I need to thrive and grow in this world. I need to recognize that this world is a growth for this is a womb for the growth of my soul. And I need to keep continuing to grow in this world so that I get to a stage where I have reached my potential and my perfection, so that this womb of the world can no longer suffice for me, and Allah will move me away from this world into the next realm. And I look forward to that day where I will be separated from this world and move into barzakh, and then inshallah into the day of judgment in the hereafter, where then I can move into paradise, inshallah. Let me try to take away one thing from Muzdalifah, from Mina, from Qurbani, and from the halaq or taqsir. From Muzdalifah, let me concentrate on building my faith so that I can use by connecting to Allah, so that the faith in my heart is an extension of my belief from my intellect, which can then move into action when I move into Mina, where I will now fight the greatest shaitan in my life, and also sacrifice the love that is on its own, separate to Allah, and make it part of my love of Allah, make it an extension of my love of Allah, and finally come back to this world with a stronger soul so that it may dictate to my body. Let us at least take away one thing from the day of Eid, from the rites of the day of Eid, in order to bring it home. We pray to Allah to give us the tawfiq to be able to bring the rites of Hajj on the day of Eid home, so that we can actually call this a day of Eid where we can celebrate because we have moved on our spiritual path towards Allah, inshallah. Join me tomorrow for our final talk on the rites of the rites of the Hajj, which are done after the day of Eid, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.